Rocket Man, John Ellwood, welcome. What sort of rocket man are you? Are you taking us to the moon?
No, we're taking you for a very fast ride on the ice.
Welcome to Twist Grip Tales, and have we got a tale for you? John Ellwood in Sweden. Hello, välkommen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Bruce.
This is episode 2. And John, as we found out with his 6-cycle 4-stroke, has got a touch of genius with a very wide streak of I fell out of bed and bumped my head, because not only is this man racing a single cylinder that we've heard about already of 1170 cc's. Now, you might think that's big, but just let me explain to you that John started this single cylinder project race bike out as a 1300 cc's and decided to make it a bit smaller by de-stroking it. But now we get onto the part that is really interesting, as if that wasn't. Rocket Man, John Ellwood, welcome. What sort of rocket man are you? Are you taking us to the moon?
No, we're taking you for a very fast ride on the ice.
So when you talk about rockets, you're talking about gas turbines, something sane and sensible, where you can bring it up to 100,000 RPM and you've got a motor that's turning, you're driving chains, you've got spiked tires driving on the ice.
No, this one, we're keeping this one as simple as possible.
And how simple is that, John?
No, we keep it very simple. We don't want any spinning things or wheels or gears or turbines. We just have a simple little rocket. And the only thing we really have to control it is a throttle tap that lets more laughing gas in or less laughing gas. So it's totally controllable with that throttle.
So we're not talking about solid rocket fuel, which is sort of like an explosion that's happening, which is just capable of taking one apart, wrecking the machine. We're not talking solid rocket fuel here, are we?
No. You could run it. You could run it on the ice. We have a very long track, but it probably wouldn't go through the scrutineering.
Okay. So what sort of fuel are we talking about is driving this? You've mentioned nitrous oxide, the laughing gas, which we'll find out how much laughing goes on as we continue through this story about this rocket sled. So what's your primary fuel, John?
Well, it started out as I saw a BBC documentary where they had a rocket sled on the railway line, unmanned, of course. That one went on Toffee. Toffee is the fuel, and the laughing gas gives it the oxygen in liquid form, so it really burns.
Now, let me get this straight. You take a candy cane and give it some laughing gas.
Yeah. And
somehow or another, that toffee apple, whatever, drives you along. Now, what sort of speed does a candy cane take you to? I can imagine a candy cane burning. I'm thinking maybe walking speed or something like that.
Well, I have had walking speed out of it as well, but that one on the railway sled, it did 0 to 200 miles an hour on a 200-yard stretch.
So a candy cane racer, and you're burning toffee. Just where do you stick your toffee apple to make it go that fast? I mean,
well, you just stick it in the pipe. You can run rubber, plastic, salami, anything that burns, and shoot that laughing gas down it, and it will burn a lot harder.
It releases a lot of oxygen, that nitrous oxide, that's for sure. So basically what we're talking about here is concentrated energy. You've got this hydrocarbon chain locked up inside this sugar, which tastes really good, but under the right conditions, you're talking about solid petrol is really what we're talking about, which is sugar. The chemical reaction is really quite extraordinary. And we're going to put some pictures up of these toffee apple races, and you say 0 to 200 miles an hour in 200 meters. That is just a bewildering statistic.
Yeah.
And you pilot one of these things.
Yeah, well, the world record is like almost 250 miles an hour. And the very few guys doing this now, but their machines are like $1 million machines that they run with. Well, I built mine for $100.
I think yes, and so you get the fuel as the leftovers from Christmas with the red and white candy canes.
Yeah, you can do that. I just go out and buy a bag of sugar and melt it down, put it on a sheet of cardboard like a Swiss roll, roll it up like a Swiss roll with a hole down the middle, and that's all you need. A warning to anyone wanting to do it. It is very, very dangerous. I've had a lot of accidents, a lot of close misses.
Do not attempt any of this at home. Unless you have got a very close relative who is a dentist, you should stick to eating candy canes, eating toffee apples. Do not stick them in the handlebars of your bicycle and set them on fire. Now, just tell me what sort of temperature, you were mentioning to me the temperatures that your toffee rocket reaches when it's running on full song, John.
Yeah, it's hotter than a volcano. It's 2,600 degrees C.
2,600 degrees C I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around this, out of a bag of sugar.
Yeah, amazing.
How much energy is tied up? We're using the wrong stuff. I mean, don't think that if you've got your car, that if you put sugar in your petrol, it's going to go faster. That is not going to work. All you're going to do is end up with candy around your pistons and your engine is going to stop and blow up. That is not the way this technology works. This is candy cane rocket, and you're best to watch it. The safest way to do this is to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, you can look up Toffee rocket, or you can look at the best one at the moment is the Virgin Galactic, because they wanting to take people on flights up into space. They have that.
Really? So they're launching it into a rocket into the atmosphere.
Yeah, they're taking like $500,000 for passengers to go up in it, but so far they haven't tested it out perfectly yet. I would definitely not pay that money to sit in that machine. They take it up under an airplane. I don't know what, it's maybe like 10 or 20 seater. They take it up under a big Boeing airplane and they drop it off, and then they hit the button like me, shoot the laughing gas. I think they run on rubber. They shoot the laughing gas down and it just goes like a missile up into space.
And you don't have to bring your own bag of sugar.
No, you don't need that. Maybe we should go out just to keep the fans interested and take a little show you the little the rocket sled.
Now, how long does your rocket burn? How long does your rocket burn for, John?
Well, up to now, I've been running standard laughing gas bottles, and I have had it on full throttle for 2 minutes. But my expert, Jeff Jacobs in America, told me, well, if you're not dumping all that laughing gas within 10 seconds, then you won't get up to speed. So here she is. Can you see that all right, Bruce?
I can. That is very aerodynamic. That is for sure. Very aerodynamic. And so do you steer this at all?
Well, yeah, it does. It does have a handlebar, but you know, the ice on Saturday now where I'm going to race is going to be so slippery. The steering probably won't work. So as long as it's going forwards at a very high speed, I've got a very long leg and very wide. I do have like blades underneath, underneath these skis, because various conditions, it could just be like slush, snow, or just total ice. It's going to be total ice this weekend.
So you're going to be sitting on this sled, which may or may not steer, which has an engine capable of propelling you to 200, 250 miles an hour within 2 seconds. And so how do you stop this thing from coming all the way down here to Australia, John?
All right, I'll show you the brake. Here we have a foot operated. I use both feet, 1 foot or both feet. And this little comb goes down into the ice.
You so in other words, you just take your foot and put it down on the ice because you don't have any brakes. I am so how big was that bump on the head, John? This is
Yeah.
that is a very purposeful. That's the most rudimentary brake I've ever seen in my life. In fact, I've seen horses and carriages. I've seen horses and carts with better brakes on them than that. And you're going to do 250 miles an hour, John.
Well, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to do 100 miles an hour. But if it's going to go faster, I'll try to have the help from my guardian angel to keep the throttle pinned. This is the throttle. It's spring loaded. In case I fall off, then it closes by itself. So in the beginning, tweak it on very, very slowly. Otherwise, I'll blow the flame out. Tweak it on slowly with the thumb here, with the left hand. And when it's getting up to speed, then I'll need full throttle. So I'll take the right hand and take it all the way. Very simple. So it's basically two controls: start switch and throttle.
Well, I'm glad I'm watching you, John, because I got to tell you that just seems like jumping out of an aeroplane without a parachute.
And this sled is called Sofie the rocket sled. And I have all my sponsors on the so well, all my sponsors, my few sponsors anyway. Not very many.
Well, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor John, if you're a sugar cane grower, if you're a candy cane manufacturer, if you want to sponsor John in his quest, because the world record is held by a guy, curiously, the world record is held by a guy called Sammy Miller. Now, you might know the name Sammy Miller, but I can assure you he's Canadian, isn't he? This is not Sammy Miller, the motorcycle and English museum curator and motorcycle restorer. This is Sammy Miller. Is he a Canadian?
I'm not sure if he's American or Canadian, but he used to race these. He used to race the hydrogen peroxide drag racing cars, and then he used the same idea. Well, he used the same car, but put skis on it and got the world ice record.
And that was 40 years and 2 weeks ago. It was the 1981, the day after Valentine's Day. 40 years and 2 weeks away. And he hit the extraordinary speed of, what was it, 248.9 miles per hour.
Something like that.
In around about 2 seconds from a standing start. That piece of video is up there on YouTube for people to have a look at. We might put a link to that up there as well. So you're saying you're happy to reach 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, I'll be very happy to get 100.
We'll be very happy for you to reach 100 miles an hour, John, and slow down and end up in one piece, I tell you. You are a very brave man.
I'm going to have to go in now. It's a little bit cold. I'm going to show you the actual rocket. The rocket motor. Take out the actual rocket motor.
And your Swedish accent is very good, John. You lose your English accent completely?
Well, I tried to keep my home village accent, but it is a bit difficult to understand. Just a second.
Now, what's this motor manufactured of, John? Is that some sort of nickel steel or is it ceramic?
Well, in the beginning, I made the mistake of using stainless steel. So, but stainless steel, I did learn the hard way, does not distribute heat. If it gets hot in one place, it just burns a hole through it.
It's not a very good conductor of heat at all. It's a very good insulator.
This, now you can see the size of my foot there. It's like 3 feet long.
Yes.
What we have we have the big one. We have the big inlet. That's for the big laughing gas. Then we have the smaller inlet for a start. To start, a little small bottle of laughing gas to start it with, and then another inlet for the air, which is the preliminary starting on the air. And then we turn that air off, put the laughing gas on.
So is that compressed air that you're punching in there?
It's just compressed, yes, just like out of an air mattress pump.
All right.
Just to give it, because there's no oxygen inside there.
Yeah.
There is, burns straight away when we started.
Yeah. So what's the cylinder made of now, John? It's
MA steel. I don't know what you call it abroad, but it's MA LFL. It's very thick-walled stuff. It stands a bit more temperature than stainless, but of course, nothing stands that temperature for very long.
2600 degrees C is a lot of stress to put on anything like that. Yes.
Yeah, and then it has a safety feature. This V-clamp band here. If it does get a plug in the nozzle, then this, instead of just exploding, this band releases and saves everyone.
That's a very clever feature. So that's the weak link in the chain. So that burns through first.
It will release rather than the whole pipe exploding.
Yeah.
It has happened once, yes.
Yeah. Once the burn starts, you've got limited control over it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got the throttle, so once the burn starts, I can throttle it, cut the throttle, give it half throttle, whatever I want. It will be fun. You have to have some fun in these days.
Well, I think most of the laughing will be done after the thing comes to a halt, I think, rather than the nervous laugh of prior to pushing it while you're pushing it to the start line.
Yeah. Well, it has happened as well that I have frozen to the start line. The skis freeze on the ice, and I have fastened a couple of times and had to hump it away from the start line. That's
always one of the terrible things that happen when you're on the ice. You don't want to stand still for too long.
No.
Yes. Well, that is one amazing story, John. I really appreciate you sharing your adventures upcoming. Now, next weekend you're going racing with this machine.
Yes.
And we
Saturday.
we wish you all the very best for that. We may even we will look forward to your safe return, and we may even chat to you and get a review of how the weekend went. So thank you very much, John. And I want to thank all of you for watching and cheer John on in his extraordinary, we won't call it insane, but we'll just call it very scary adventures of John on ice with a 2600 degree solid fuel rocket with nitrous oxide and all that other stuff and the laughing gas. Let's keep it very jovial. Sugar, are you serious? It's running on sugar. I can't believe that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow John in his exploits. He's on there on Facebook up there in Sweden doing his super motorcycle single cylinder racing in the summer and doing the sugar candy toffee apple racer jet rocket machine in the wintertime. John, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Hope
John.
to see you again.
Don't forget to comment, and we'll chase you up, John, and see how that weekend of mayhem goes up there. And we wish you a safe return.
Thank you. See you now.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Där tog kolan slut.